So I'm Megan, this is Ryan, my husband. We live in Apple Valley. We've been in our house since 2011, and we recently partnered with Joe Plan to build a pool in our backyard.
One day it dawned on me during COVID that we needed more entertainment at the house. We also saw the need for our kids to have solid entertainment at the house to try to encourage playing, and also we like being the house where the friends come to us so that we can monitor the situation, get to know all the friends. I think the first thing I did was got a rope and figured out, kind of roughly mapped out in my backyard. You Google the best way to build a pool and you get inundated with all sorts of different options. But looking at the options, Joe was the only person locally that was building a pool the right way, in my opinion. Like you build a house from the foundation up. It seemed like the other pool building methods were dig a hole and put a liner in it and backfill it, which, that might work just fine, but I really like the idea of Joe's ICF pools. The idea that I actually have, a cinder block foundation filled with concrete makes me feel like it's as permanent of an item as it costed.
Yeah, because we got estimates for both the metal wall pool and the fiberglass pool. And then we determined we wanted to do the ICF partially because it's so efficient, and we've found that. I mean, we've had the pool now for 2 summers and we really find it holds good heat and it does a nice job of maintaining temperature, which has been a big difference for us.
First of all, I'll speak to the ICF pool design and it being so efficient. I consider the fact that we would save money with the efficiency of the pool, but what I didn't anticipate is just how much easier it would be to have a pool that's kind of always warm. It feels bad to run your heater all the time, so if you have to turn it on, you tend not to run it as much because you just kind of feel like, you're spending a lot of money out there heating the pool. And with this pool, honestly, we don't even run the heater most of the year until later in the fall and the spring. Because of the pool's construction, the heat of the sun's enough to keep it warm. I jumped into cold pools when I was a kid, but it's a lot more advantageous for the neighbor kids and everybody to enjoy it and jump in when the pool is just,
well, and it's Minnesota,
80 degrees or more.
We get days in the 60s and 70s, and the first summer was last summer, and there were a lot of weirdly cold days, and we still were able to use it because we keep it warm enough to be comfortable, which is good because we get a limited season here. So I think that's been a big deal.
And I tell my friends that since we've gotten the pool, I think my favorite part about it, it's great having people over and having a reason to enjoy it with company, but for me, it's like the random Tuesday night at 7 o'clock when there's really not enough time to go anywhere and do anything per se. And it's usually time that would be spent, in front of tablets or on the TV because, it's later in the evening. But now those get to turn into like quick little, swimming adventures with the kids. And, you can get them in the pool. Sometimes you don't have to give them a bath.
Side bonus. So the couple of things we had added besides the pool was we had a nice big patio surround porch so that we can use that space, which we've created a bonfire pit area and sort of an entertaining area on top of the pool, which is great because the kids go out there and just play around on the patio. And then we also added some swings, which has been a great feature because the kids can just drop down into the yard and then we don't have to have a swing set in the outer side of the yard. So there's been a lot of benefits. And then we put in a full-on bonfire pit as well that we cleaned up and put out there to look at while we're sitting around the pool. We use that in the fall. So there's been a lot of added elements of having a reason to go outside even besides just swimming. The actual pool build process was pretty slick. Like, they came with the heavy equipment. We kind of warned the neighbors so they knew what to expect. And they were in and out of here within a handful of days. It was a relatively straightforward process.
We got, I believe, 4 estimates from different pool companies that had different construction methods. And, once we had decided to build the pool, I started doing the research on what the best method was. And from my seat, it's a no-brainer that Joe builds the best pool in the Twin Cities, quality-wise and energy efficiency-wise. And I think making the decision to buy the pool was the big decision, and choosing Joe was pretty easy. He laid it all out. He's very straightforward. Joe just tells you exactly how it is. He didn't try to hide how much it was going to cost. He didn't try to sugarcoat it. They were in and out rather quickly. The longest part about the process was us planting all the plants and doing some of the landscaping so that, we could try to make it look as pretty around the pool as it is in the pool.